It's a beautiful day to you, our lovely and smart real estate investors, whether you are in diaspora or you are in Nigeria. I am super delighted to welcome you to another insightful episode of Property Matters. In case you are coming or you're seeing a video like this for the first time, Property Matters is a real estate YouTube talk show where we expose you to everything you need to know about the Nigerian real estate market and of course the Lagos State real estate market. Property Matter is a real estate YouTube surgical room where we dissect, we explain, and of course we expose you to an objective analysis on how the real estate market works. Over time, we've talked about EPE, we've talked about typology of land, we've explained freehold, we've explained agricultural acquisition, we've explained forestry, we've talked about what military zone is, we've talked about Ibeju Lekki, I talked about how you can identify land titles, how to identify land with fake excision, we've talked about how you can identify land with C of O, we've talked about what are the major components of a land that has a good governance consent. We've talked about the off-plan industry. We've talked about criteria of a good real estate developer. We've talked about some things you need to understand when you're investing in off-plan. We've went further to talk about short-let conditions and, of course, areas where your short-let market is very, very profitable. Of course, we've also talked about how you can identify a manipulative real estate developer. We've also went further to talk about how you can identify a manipulative and a fraudulent real estate transaction. And previously, we also talked about how you can identify and, of course, detect a fraudulent real estate agent that is trying to swindle you of your hand-earned money. So in case you're seeing a video like this for the first time, one of the way you can appreciate us and you can, of course, communicate to us that you love what we're doing and you want this to continue is to subscribe to this YouTube channel. A whole lot of people have been viewing this video, they've been picking lessons, and they're yet to subscribe. Please do well to subscribe, support us so that we can reach many people, so that Nigerians, wherever they are across the world, will not lose any form of money to any form of real estate investment they make in Lagos, Nigeria. I'll be back immediately after the short commercial. Please stay tuned. You're welcome to Avocado Luxury and Smart Apartments in the heart of Abijo GRA, Lagos, Nigeria. These wonderful apartments are fully furnished, well spaced with modern and ultra facilities that will make living haven. The apartment comes with, we have one, two, three bedroom apartment. So if you are looking at, the possibility of earning rental income from already built apartment, the Avocado, smart and luxury homes is for you. We have one bedroom apartment. We have two bedroom apartment and we have three bedroom apartment. Rental income within this axis is within 2.5 for two bedroom apartment and 3 million naira for three bedroom apartment. You could also use these wonderful apartments for short lets. So for more information about the Avocado luxury and smart apartment, give us a call. Of course, it comes with a 24-month payment plan. So if you want to know more about this wonderful apartment, give us a call. So let's quickly go back to the video, and of course, thank you for following. Right, I'm super delighted to be on your screen today. It's a privilege, it's an honor. Thank you for making out time to view our videos. For those who have supported us in different ways, I want to say a big thank you. We appreciate your support, and we promise not to relent on giving you people the best real estate information wherever you are across the world. All you need to do is just subscribe to this channel so that when we drop a video, you'll be the one to know, you'll be the first person to know, and you'll be well informed on how the Nigerian real estate market works. Today, I'm going to be talking and commenting briefly on the sudden demolitions of properties, 13 houses at Ajao Estates. And today's episode, we'll be talking about important lessons that real estate investors should learn from this scenario. It is an unfortunate situation. We actually, we extend our sympathy to every people who must have lost their homes. It's a sad thing. It's not something to be excited about. A lot of people have been rendered homeless. A lot of people don't even know where to go from here. And of course, it is sad, like I said. And our sympathy goes to every people who must have, been affected by these unfortunate incidents. As a real estate investors, we've explained several times that when you are doing a real estate investment, that is why it is very important that you understand the rudiments, the requirements. There are laws that guide real estate activities in the beautiful city of Lagos, Nigeria. And this is why we always come online. The aim of Property Matter is actually designed to avoid these unfortunate, situations that happen. And that is why we come online, we explain this to you. We want you guys to be well, abreast with all the Lagos state land laws so that we will not experience this kind of unfortunate situation. Once again, our sympathy to everybody who was affected. And today, we're going to be talking about important lessons. It was just quite unfortunate that a few days ago, a whole lot of people woke up to the reality that they don't have a home. Most of these people are landlords, and of course, it's always a sad thing when there's a downgrade from being a landlord to a tenant. So let's quickly dive into today's topic. Why did the demolition take place? What are the important lessons that real estate investors should learn from this unfortunate situation? The very first thing I want you people to understand basically is that the Nigerian real estate industry is saturated. It is saturated in the sense that we have different actors and players participating actively in this industry. So, in most cases, it is very difficult to identify someone who has the experience and, of course, the knowledge on how you can be guided and where you should pitch your real estate investment. I also want to quickly reiterate the fact that I'm not trying to say that my other colleagues who are practicing real estate are not professional. No, because sometimes when you make statement, it is very good that you expatiate the statement and so that you will not be misquoted. But over time, we've seen scenarios whereby a lot of demolitions, if I'm not mistaken, over the period of just 1 year, within the space of 1 year, this is the third time that we're experiencing this kind of unfortunate situation. The very first one I reported live here on Property Matters was the Ibeju demolition saga that happened somewhere around last year. A whole lot of people, just like what happened recently, woke up to the reality of them being downgraded from being a landlord to a tenant, followed by the unfortunate ones that happened at Badagry, where a whole lot of structures were also pulled down. And to even capital all, these Ajao estate unfortunate situation also happened. And it seems that real estate investors are wondering, can we still invest in Lagos? Lagos real estate market is guided by some laws, principles, and regulations which must be strictly adhered to. And when you don't have an experienced real estate practitioner who understand these laws, who are conversant with these regulations, you will be making the same mistake that other people have been doing. For instance, some sections of the law of the Lagos State Building and Developmental Law states that it is not expected for people to site their structures in some places. Like for instance, the case of these Ajao people of this Ajao demolition was based on the fact that these buildings were situated or structured near a gas pipeline. And one of the reasons why these structures were taken down was because of the fact that they are scared that if these pipelines should explode, it will cause more environmental hazard. And that was why they have to pull it down. You don't build your structures in pipelines, drainages, and the likes. So these are some of the things you need to know. But we'll be back immediately after this short more time. Let's just go straight into some of the reasons and some important lessons that I want us to see as regards the unfortunate demolition of some of properties that happened at the airport at Jao Estate. Now, one of the reasons why these buildings were demolished was number one, some of the buildings did not have food. And I've said this several times, when you're investing in a building, you need to get the necessary and put the necessary offices in allowed so they can grant you an approval. Now, the purpose of the approval, number one, is to ascertain, some of the materials that is being used. Number two is for it to conform to some levels of patterns and, of course, some safety rules and methods that is being considered by the Lagos State Building Management Control as it is fit. So when you get a building approval, I've said it before that when you get a building approval, it shows, the authenticity of the structures, and constantly the Lagos State Building Management Control team will constantly come, to check, to checkmate if you are building in conformity to what has been granted to you by Lagos State government. And one of the ways that Lagos State government intends, okay, to checkmate the instant collapse of building in Lagos, Nigeria, is to give a required building approval that will certainly ensure that long-lasting buildings that will pass the test of time are being erected. So number one, when the demolition happened, the Lagos State Building Management Control said that not building according to the approval, not getting an approval is a law and is a crime, and of course that crime is punishable by what? By demolition. So I did an extensive video explaining why an approval is very, very necessary, and of course I'll be sharing the link of the video so that you can learn more and understand the importance of it. So not having approval was one of the reasons why some of the structures were demolished. So please, dear real estate investors, whether you are building, you need to speak with the architect or all the engineering doing your project to please, even if the building has gone to an extent, please ensure you get an approval so that when the Lagos State Building Management control team come for regular inspections to check, you will not have any reason for them to do what? To demolish your building. Then the second thing basically was where some of these structures were pulled out was because of the fact that the Lagos State Building Management Control, in conjunction with FAN, said that some of this building constitutes security threats. What do they mean by that? When you look at the video, of course, as you're seeing, you will agree with me that some of these buildings, according to them, were constructed on a pipeline, on a gas pipeline. And one of the security measures that can be done to avoid further or future explosion of gas and of course destruction of properties worth billions of naira was to pull down those buildings. And of course, when you look at the recent demolition exercise, you'll agree with me that there are several houses that were not touched. Of course, there were several houses. So they said that there could be a gas explosion in the future, and what they need to do was to pull down this building to save other buildings. And when you look at this, you will understand very well that when you're building, you need to put a lot of things into consideration. And that was why I said that when you're buying properties, you need to ensure that your properties are not close to to gas pipeline. They are not situated on a road. They are not close to canals. These are some of the things you need to put. You just don't buy a property because it is being recommended to you. You need to do your due diligence. You need to do what we call an environmental due diligence, whereby a professional can come, pick the coordinate, take it to Alausa to search. And of course, when they search, they will, from the search at Alausa, of course, at the Ministry of Town Planning, they'll be able to know and tell if there are several, infrastructures coming there. When we do, the environmental due diligence, it tells us where a road project is coming. If it is close to a canal, they will tell you. If it is sitting on a pipeline, they will tell you. If there's going to be a bridge, just like the construction of the Fort Mainland Bridge, some houses also will be demolished. So when you do those kind of due diligence, it gives you an extensive, these are some of the due diligence we do for some of our, prospective clients. They let you know if there are a future project, if there's a road or a road expansion that might be coming in that place. This environmental due diligence helps you to understand. So for constituting security threats and of course to avoid future gas explosion, these buildings were pulled down. And of course, one of the things I also understand basically was that some of these buildings did not have title documents. According to the Lagos State Building Management Control, they said that these people did not have title. Now, like I said, it was not just those buildings that were demolished. There were other buildings that were, that were not touched. Of course, several 200 buildings were exempted from this process of, demolition. And I've always been saying, basically, dear real estate investors, that you just don't jump into a property because it is cheap. I'm not saying you should not buy cheap properties, but you need to understand that whenever some people put up a property or some, acres of land for sale, there are several reasons that could have, prompted that desire to sell. So one of the things basically was that those people did not have title, and I've said it before. When you understand the Lagos state land laws and regulations, you will understand that it is a crime, an offense, to build on a property that you don't even have at least a gazette. It's something that you really need to understand, that building is very, very important. And as important as it is, if when you have gotten an approval on your building, you must also build on the land that have title. And this is to inform investors, people who like buying cheap lands just because of the fact that they are persuaded to do so. I'm not saying, I don't want to be misquoted, I'm not saying that cheap lands are not safe, but in as much as fact that you are in Lagos State, the law demands that you get an approval and you get a title on your property before you build. And of course, some people will say there are some places that they've built and they've been exempted. Yes, of course, they've been exempted, but that doesn't mean government will not come. When government do projects like road projects, infrastructural projects, and even demolition, they do it in phases. In some places right now, they may be concentrated in some parts of the mainland and some parts of the island. When they are true, they will face other places that needs to be attended to. And more importantly, when you begin to notice government presence in a particular place and you have untitled property, the advice basically, I know most real estate practitioner will not like what I'm saying, but it is actually the truth. If we see the truth and we choose to ignore it, and we see danger come to people, posterity will judge us. So it is very important that the moment you notice that government is concentrating industries, they are bringing projects in that area, the tendency for government to take land in order to get this thing done are very high. So one of the things you need to do basically is to ensure that if your property does not have a recognized title, try as much as you can to get it done. Now, for the houses that were demolished at Ajao estate, report getting to us says that there were other buildings that did not have title, but these people went for regularization for the 200 structures that were exempted. We were told that they went for regularization and they got a title for their property, and that was why they were exempted. I've said it before, Lagos state government is not a barbaric government. No, they are not as bad as many people think they are. The thing is, there are some stipulated regulations. Once you follow that regulations, they will not disturb you. The law says get a title on your property. Go ahead, get a title on it. The law says get a building approval. Once you have done this, they are not as, once you do what they ask you to do, they will leave you. They are not as bad as they been painted. Once you understand the rules and regulations and you won't have any problem with them. So these are some of the things that we need to understand. So if the law says get a title, it doesn't matter whether it is a pair, in as much as the property is within the circumference of Lagos, the laws will have. Now, a lot of people will say, now the thing is, the reason why I fear Lagos state government is that they can leave you 10, 20, 15 years and not disturb you. But once there's a project or once their attention have shifted to that place, just know that the tendency that they will disturb is very, very high. So these are some of the reasons. So dear real estate investor, and you need to understand that when a demolition exercise is going on, you are or to put some things into consideration. Like for instance, for some of us that are buying properties within most of these infrastructures, there are some required setbacks that is required. There are some building, approval that I give. Like for instance, if you are building a property near an airport, there's a dimension of the height. There's a way. In fact, you don't go close to all of these facilities. So these are some of the measures that you need to put in place. These are some of the things you need to put into consideration so that you would not be violating the laws of land building that the Lagos state government have stipulated in their modes of operation. Once again, we are not happy with this news, but investors home and abroad needs to be well informed about the rules. Now, for people that I'll quickly address this question before I call it a wrap. Someone contacted me a few months ago and said, I want to buy a property and my budget is 700,000. Now, the advice I gave was very, very simple. And the advice basically was that if you're buying a property or you want to buy a property that is 700,000 and you don't have the intention. Now, this instruction is basically for someone who wants to do a land banking and you don't have intention of perfecting immediately. This is my recommendation. I want to buy a property, 700,000. 1 million is my budget. 1.5 is my budget. See, because of these laws and we don't know what will happen in future, please go to Ogun State. If you want to buy a property and you don't have intention of perfecting it, this instruction is for investors who want to buy property, excuse me, and they don't have the intention of perfecting 10, 15 years or even later. Please, it is only in other neighboring states that you can buy a land that is free, that if all you have on the land is just register survey, you can build, and of course the land stays or the property stays with you forever. But in Lagos, the reverse has always been the case. The reverse has always been once government projects or once government shifts their attention to that place and you don't have the required document, they will take down the structure. So I want to buy properties that is below 1 million, that is 1 million, 1.5. My budget is 1.5. Please don't just say it's Ekpe. They will tell you they are not coming. Who told you they are not coming to Ekpe? A lot of people tell you they want to do this. It's just this place. They are not. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy. They may not come immediately, but have it in the mind that development is in phases. Once government face expect development squarely, properties will not be exempted if they don't have the required documentation to protect its safety. So this is where I'm going to draw today's curtain of property matters. In case you're coming across this channel, please do well to subscribe, turn on notification. Once again, our apologies to everybody. Our sympathies go to everybody that were affected. We pray that God will give you guys, the grace to forge ahead and do, and of course have better structures in place. So this is where I'm going to draw a curtain. Of course, we are a real estate investment specialist. We help you go get your property process, of course, by following all these laws and regulations that I've clearly stated. So you want to do a real estate investment and you're looking for how to do it, we are the best bet. So do well to subscribe and see my next video. God bless you. Have a nice day.